My apology that we took longer. We had quite a number of colleagues, presenting in the other session, and there were quite many, and we wanted to give everyone an opportunity to make sure that they present their work. I know I was supposed to chair this last session, so I'll chair and also look at the reflections, and then I'll ask my research director, Dr. Mokhanso Makoy, to then close the 2025 Climate Change and Futures Conference Series, themed Risk and Time and Space. So I'll just go straight to reflections. I would have loved that we do interaction on that, but I just thought so that for the sake of time, I'll go through some of these because I used the reports which I was getting from the people who were actually doing the rapid sharing. Colleagues, I would want to acknowledge that this conference, compared to the first leg in 2022, which was held in Zimbabwe, Victoria Falls, and also the one which was held in Maputo, Mozambique, this time the conference actually managed to bring together scholars, practitioners, youth, and innovators from across Africa and beyond. We had people for the first time, we had people from the communities. I'm sure you saw the posters outside there, where we had the colleagues who are doing wonderful work, and all what they are doing, they are trying to address the issues of climate change. This platform, in my view, it's one of the reflections as well, is that it served as a platform to connect science, technology, governance, and local knowledge for climate resilience. There are a lot of presentations which were talking about governance. There are a lot of presentations which were talking about local knowledge, which were talking about health and even innovations, technologies. We saw people actually presenting on the use of technology, which is quite a good thing because some of the presenters also were advocating that as much as we are saying we need to rely on our indigenous knowledge, there's no harm in also looking into the development of technologies. And the other thing which I could also say is, I'm sure now from this conference, I've seen that there is a growing commitment to African-led solutions and innovation ecosystems, as well as inclusive participation. Like I said, we are bringing a lot of young people. It's unfortunate, my plan was to have around 60 students coming to grace this conference, but unfortunately, I would say I failed on my part to raise as much financial resources as possible, and that actually urged me and my colleagues whom I work with that we should do a lot of work to make sure that we have enough financial resources so that we can bring young scholars, even from primary schools, to come and be here. I was only able to bring one primary school learner. You saw her performing wonderful on during the opening ceremony. And because of lack of resources, I had to keep her just for a few days so that at least she go back. But I was happy. She was giving me very good report that the most important thing which enticed her is that she was flying above the clouds. She could see clouds down there. And she also took nice photos about the environment. She took a photo about, when she was approaching Namibia, she could be able to differentiate the environment where she was in with where she was coming from. So you can see all this brings a different perspective to our young scholars, and it will also urge them to try and explore beyond their own environment. The other thing which I could reflect on is in terms of emerging themes and innovations, where we saw the use of drones, AI, and big data, which can be used to enhance climate risk monitoring and response. Issues of citizen science were big yesterday, where also we learn issues to do with serious games. There was a nice presentation from a colleague in Canada who studied in the UK, and someone asked a very good question to say, can we actually contextualize these games? And the answer from him was, yes, we can do. And I know when we were growing up, we had a lot of indigenous games which we were doing. Tsoro, those who know Tsoro, there's some game where we use stones and we dig holes on the ground. Can we adapt those? We can. And these games are played across the gender divide. Males have got also some of the games, but I realized when we were growing up during our time, we could even also play games which were meant for females. The other reflection is on creative and social dimension, where we were looking at visual storytelling. I attended one session where there was narrative stories, and I was saying, hey, can you also teach me how to write an article through narrative stories? Because it was so encouraging that there are new emerging methodologies which researchers and other scholars are actually adopting in terms of learning more about disaster risk, climate change. The issue of policy and the adaptation research also came out strongly, where studies on climate impact on food systems, water security, yesterday there were quite a lot on that, on water security. Livelihoods across Southern Africa were quite prevalent. Also the focus on gendered vulnerabilities, indigenous knowledge, and community-led adaptations. All this came out strongly. The conference also, in my view, I'm sure some of you might buy into that, the conference reaffirmed that Africa's climate future must be co-created. This was very strong yesterday. And that cross-sectoral collaboration between universities, research councils, as well as civic organizations proved essential for building anticipatory and just climate governance. And colleagues, I have a deep appreciation and gratitude to the colleagues whom I was working with from South Africa. You saw some of them in the morning where I was saying, please, can you come online so that they can just say a word. I felt bad that I couldn't bring them here, but all this gives us, this effort to say we need to do more, so that when we have the next conference, all the people who are involved have to come and grace the occasion. It's my wish, and I hope that wish will be granted sometime in the future. I also sincerely thank the CEOs who graced this, who made an effort to come with our CEO, Professor Sarah Mosetsa. She was able to come and also grace the occasion. We also had the CEO from the National Commission for Research, Science and Technology, Professor Peters. She was here, and she graced this occasion. I know they were supposed to be here today, but there are a lot of commitments. There are a lot of challenges which are affecting our countries, and they have to go and attend to those issues. Some of the key outcomes which I believe we can work on leaving this place is the issue of knowledge for co-production and innovation. I said when we leave this place, we need to do something. We need to continue working together. We need to continue collaborating. During my career, I met a lot of old people who were always saying, Wilfred, when you meet someone, make sure that you find where does that person fit in your life crossword puzzle. And whenever you are, just say hi one day, send an email. They'll always remember, oh, this person is saying hi, we once met somewhere. You never know in life. One day they'll call you to say, hey, we have this big project. Can you come and work with us? So while we are here, make sure that before you leave this place, please, if you don't have my email, politely ask it and I'll give it to you. We also looked at policy and practice linkages. I'm sure a lot of insights here have been generated actually to feed into the African agenda. Who knows African agenda for which year? Yeah, my director is sharp. She's saying, can you say it up loudly, please? 2063. That's exactly what I saw emerging as one of the outcome of this conference. And also, another one is network strengthening. I've been working with the University of Free State. I've been working with the Walter Sisulu University since we started this conference up to now. We are together. And I've seen this year they brought in quite a number of other people. And I hope the following conference they will be exhibiting. Professor Oguden, Professor Ngube, we want to see you exhibiting your work. I met new friends this year. Malinal from University of Joburg, she was writing, hey, can we do this, can we do that? Next time, I'm sure you are going to do that. And my apology that we couldn't do everything which we wanted to do. So, in terms of the next steps, colleagues, we are going to propose that we have a post-conference publications and outputs, and I've had commitment from Professor Ranjan. I know he's very much hardworking, but I promise you, Prof, I'll be to the task. I'm pledging that definitely what we have agreed is going to happen. I know he's workaholic, but I'll also try to do my best out of that. We are also proposing to have policy briefs. Colleagues, when we come to you, as long as you know you are going to really devote to the work, we are there to assist. The Human Sciences Research Council produces policy briefs, which are peer-reviewed, which are also counted as research outputs. So I encourage colleagues to also be a part of that. We'll also do institutional collaboration follow-up projects. That's what we intend to do. And we also hope to have knowledge exchange and capacity building. We are not going to stop. Towards this conference, we did have some webinars and seminars which were organized, and we envisage that we will continue having this, and we'll reach out to you colleagues so that you are part of that journey until we go to the next goal, which in our view is to build on the Windhoek outcome, to deepen our collaboration and produce actionable pathways towards climate justice and sustainable futures in Africa. We call upon, that's the next step, colleagues to come forward and if they are willing to host this conference, please come forward so that we can start working now. We have seen that once after the conference, we start working together. will actually do much better, so that by the time we are going to make a call for abstracts and so forth, we will be at a far much advanced stage. That's all from me, colleagues. I'll call upon our research director, Dr. Mohanso, to come and close the conference. Over to you, Doc.
Colleagues, good afternoon. It's so encouraging to see this space and the chairs still occupied in this last hour of the conference. It's not coming from me, it's ringing from somewhere else. But we can say it's the first time we hear that sound during this conference. And that is another thing that I would like to thank you for. But what a conference. One that is talking about an issue that you can tell that everyone who has been in this space from Tuesday, making arrangements, making sure that the space reflects what we are here for, everyone was working hard. And then on Wednesday, we have the Prime Minister of the Republic of Namibia gracing this space and us, and the deliberations that we are having, and setting the scene for the conference to start, and the two CEOs for HSRC and for NCRST coming together to lay the map for us, to say that this is the roadmap for the next 3 to 4 days. If we adhere to this plan, we will be able to achieve what this conference intends to achieve. Thank you very much for all the thick descriptions in your individual presentations, for the networkings that we see happening, for the collaborations for the future that we see emerging and being facilitated by this gathering. And we are going to leave this space, and Dr. Lunga has already laid out the next steps. And if we are going to consistently stay in communication with one another, either through HSRC or through NCRST, or among the networks that we have forged among ourselves, that is going to take this agenda forward. We know there is a global agenda, and we know that there is COP30 that is happening. But us here, I have a colleague who likes to call people who do things together as collectives, and I think we are that collective. And we are dealing with a subject that is supposed to be preoccupying everyone's mind, but not at the same level, not to the same scale, and maybe not to the same intensity. And we can be those catalysts in our own places and together. And this is a bigger gathering. There should be other ways of coming together among ourselves so that at the next conference, I wish I could see a hand already that says we are that conference in 2027. we are those hosts. But we want to see communities of practice emerging from this gathering. The breakaway rooms that we have occupied in the past 3 days, they must be the starting points for us to begin something, because already we were in those rooms because we have something in common. We have something that we care about. And those breakaway rooms should be where the initial messages, ideas, topics start to create communities of practice around the themes that we discussed in this past 3 days, but also new themes that can emerge on the program that will be guiding us in 2027. So let's not underestimate the impact and the possible impact of this initiative. We are here because we matter. And we are here to stand in front and behind, even on the side of climate action, because climate change matters, and it matters to all of us. We will be leaving, but before we go, we all have still our lunch waiting for us. But when we go back, can we travel safely? Can we look back at Namibia and say there is something that we started or that we continued in Namibia? And there is something that we will be taking forward to a specific place in 2027, talking about the same issues that we have started talking about 3 to 4 years ago. Colleagues, thank you very much. And you know, if it wasn't because of the current economic conditions we are in, each one of you will get a gift from here, or a certificate, something to show when you get home. We don't have that, but there is a specific colleague who this year was nominated to receive a gift from this collaboration between the institutions that are represented here. And we should celebrate this moment, that there is recognition that has been made towards Dr. Rajan Datta. Please, it's a surprise, you didn't know. Because you braved the storms in the Americas and came up here. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Right. Thank you so much, colleagues. Someone was saying when you go out, just pass by the posters. They just want you to prepare the posters, then you go. We also promise you are all going to get your certificates. We'll be emailing those in a week's time. Thank you so much.